Hello, all. Good evening, and welcome to another session with me, Varun, on Tech Tablet. In this video, we would be discussing one step further in OData. We'll be understanding how to import data from a table which is created in SE11, that is data dictionary. And once we have imported a table, we would be looking at how to uh, use the method which is get entity, right? So this would be the agenda. In the previous 6 videos, we have already covered what is SAP UI5, the basics, why it works, how it works, what does SAP basically do, how is a table created, what are the list of commands that we use in ABAP which cannot be used in OData. So yeah, things like these have been covered. So in this video, now that we have created a table, let us finally, kick off a project and let us start working on OData. So let me just, share the screen and we can start talking. So the goal of this video would be twofold. That is how to import data in SEGW using ABAP, which is in ABAP, and how to implement get entity method in OData service. And there is just one thing that you have to know about what a get entity basically does. It has two parameters, okay? And what does it do basically? It is like, when you enter a record and you are expecting the value of the record to be displayed, that is when we use get entity. It basically gets the information for us and it displays when you are, placing it in the URL. Right. So towards this, we have two parameters that are majorly used. The first one is IT key tab. This is used to get the key fields as input from the front end. And then we have ER underscore entity, which is used to send the values to the front end. So one is from the front end and one is to the front end. Simple. We'll just keep it, very simple to understand. Again, there might be a lot of information if you, go into the websites and if you, actually start talking about it. But here the goal is to simplify the subject and to break it down as much as possible for better understandability. So here is my SAP screen. This is my home, and here I'm going into S11. Within S11, which is the ABAP dictionary, I have created a table with the name ZEMP table or ZEMP table. Now, if you look at this, I've not added a lot of fields. I've not done a lot of hosh-posh. Just created 3 fields for the sake of it. The first one is Z employee ID, which is integer and it has a length of 3. The second one is Z employee name or ZEMP name. It's a char data type with or a character data type with a length of 10. And finally, I have employee page, which is an integer data type again, with an age of 3. So ID, name, and age. These are the 3 things that I have. And I also have, the information that has been fed into it. Like I have 4 names, Varun, Sneha, Rahul, and Priya, with their ages and their employee ID. So this would be the table that I would be working on. And we'll just keep this table open, just for, references of the name. Now I would open another window here. And finally, the favorite T code, that is SEGW. Now here, as you can see, there are a lot of, projects created by different people for different purposes. However, let us create a new project. I'll name it as Z uh, YouTube session. Okay, or I'll name it Z YT session. I think this looks better. Here, the goal would be to create an end-to-end OData service. Okay. And to that, we might have to use, different, models at different point of time. But yes, we'll look at how to create an end-to-end service, even though in pieces. Okay. So here I have my, project created. You can see there are 4 folders: data model, service implementation, which is not active right now, runtime artifacts, obviously, which is not active right now, and service maintenance. right? Also, which is not active. There's nothing which is active. We have to now activate it. So I'll right click on the data model and I will import the data set from DDIC structure. Now, what is the DDIC structure name and all? We look at it. However, I would now be, creating a name, okay, with EMP, works fine. Now, I would want the name of my table, which is ZEMP table. I'm copying this and pasting it in the name of my structure. Please notice this is the ABAP structure. And here, this check box, that is create default entity set, is checked. So because of this, I would be seeing that my entity set would be created there. So yeah, here I have, these are the three fields that I have. I want all the three fields to be imported. I'll click on next. Now it is the time for me to select one key field, and for all obvious reasons, I would keep employee ID as my key field. So here, as you can see, the data model is imported, entity type, it has ZEMP, okay? And you can see that, I have a set, which is ZEMP set. Here I have my service implementation with all the CRUD operations, that is create, read, update, and delete. And here I have my service maintenance. So this is the split of my. So now if you can look at any other project, they all look that way. I mean, every project has the same four folders. Every project has, again, it depends on how many other entity sets you create, but every project, has, the same number of entity, sets, or it has the same number of runtime artifacts. It has, service maintenance. So yeah, what I'm trying to say is every project that you work on is more or less, the exoskeleton of the project remains the same, though, it may slightly vary based on how many entity sets you import, or, what is the requirement of your project, etc. But yeah, so here I have entity type, entity set, and CRUD operations all, created for me. So now what I'll be doing is I will be, minimizing all this. I will be saving my project first. Okay, it is saved. And now I will generate my runtime artifacts. So here, if you can see, we have MPC extension, we have MPC, we have DPC extension, we have DPC, we have a model, and we have service. So all of these have been actively, generated here. And now when I click on continue, you can notice that this part is now active. Now I would save this in my local object. Okay. It is saved, and here you can see runtime objects have been generated. And at the same time, I also have, all my important, message, which is, you can see that all the runtime artifacts have been generated, which is successfully created, implemented, registered. Now, if you can just, notice the keywords, then it is not all created or generated successfully. You can see that runtime objects have been generated, but within this, MPC, MPC extension, DPC extension have been, generated successfully, while you can see, another DPC has been, implemented successfully, while the service was registered successfully. So these are the words that you need to pay attention to when you are working on a project, right? So now let us quickly go into and see what needs to be done in the next step. So here I will be going into my data model. I'm checking, what are, the fields I have. Okay, I have my employee ID, name, and age. Good to go. So now I'm getting into my service implementation, and within my service implementation, you can look at all these. Now I'll, quickly scroll into runtime artifacts. So here, if you can see, I have my DPC extension, that is data provider class. Now, what does this do? Or, what does the data provider class have? This is the place where we generally go ahead and we work on any kind of codes. So here I'll be going into my DPC extension, and within my DPC extension, I'll be searching for a method which is get entity. So here, if you can see, I have this method get entity. So I can either go ahead and click on redefine here, or I can, come to this place and I can, choose to redefine from here. Both of them do the same thing. However, I am now, going to choose this, get underscore entity, and I'm going to say redefine using this method. In the next video, when we work on another method, let us see how to do it from this side. So here I have my data, okay, or I have my code. Now this is the place where I will be starting my painting, okay. So first things first, a few things that you need to know. So here you have IT key tab. Okay. Now this is the place where that the information is taken from, and ER underscore entity where the information goes to. Right. You can also see the description is here. IT key tab has the name value pair, and it has a table for 1 second. Yeah, if you can see table name for value pairs. So this is what it is. This is what we have here. And when you kind of get into IT underscore key tab here, if you can see, let's just look at what it has. It has, a table type, all right, and it has a text associated with it, and it also has a line type, right? Now, okay, if you can just see here, you can see, all these places are not very important. Now, I will be, going into line type, and let me just press on this. So here I have two things, which is name and value, right? So these are the two things that will be going into it. So when you talk about the name of the field will be captured, and here when you say value, the value within the field would be captured. So this is one important thing for you to know when we talk about what is there within a line type. Okay, so here we have the coding area. Finally, like I said, I would be painting now. So the first thing that I would have to do is to create a work area. So I'll create a work area with the name work area key tab. Okay. Now these are, the names that I'm using here are usually global. You can, I mean, like when you talk of Python, you have import pandas as PD, import numpy as NP, right? Like how they're global definitions. Generally, when we talk of any, work area table, work, this is how we, define WA key tab or IT key tab, or yeah, that's how it goes. Now here I will be using the line type I've just copied. Now where do we have the line type? If you can see within IT key tab, this is the line type. So it is the same name that I have copied here. Okay. Now this is the first thing. Now that I have defined my data, I would have to read, the information. So the information, I mean, to read that, we have read table, and I would be reading it from IT tab. Okay. Now, where is it going? Like from where to where? So IT key tab into the work area key tab. Okay. So into work area key tab, and we have to define the index as one. Okay. Now, we would be, giving the name of the table, and, how many values do you want to, push, or, things like that. So now I would be using select single uh, star from. Now the name of my table is Z. Okay, one second. Let me just, yeah, ZEMP table would be the name of my table. So yeah, ZEMP table into corresponding fields of. So here you have your ER underscore entity, right? So into ER, and what is ER underscore entity? If you can see, it is, written here, I guess, returning data, right? So it returns the data that, you are looking for. So it returns the value to me. So ER underscore entity, and ER underscore entity, where set EMP ID. So I'll have to define my key field, right? So the value that it has to take from, or the value that it would be extracting from, would be within the key work area key tab. It would be taking in the value. Okay. So this is it. Okay, as of now, if you can see, this is inactive. So I'll, quickly go ahead and do this. And I mean, if it's all active, then, we should be having no errors. Okay, so it's activated, which means there are no errors. However, let's just, do this for the sake of satisfaction. It says there are no syntax errors found. And if you can see here, it is active. Please remember, whatever you're working on, it might be a table here. If you can see, it is active. Now this, get entity within DPC extension class we have activated. So every time you work on any kind of feature, or any kind of method, or you implement anything, please ensure that you keep it active or you activate it always. So now let's go back. If you can see now, this is grayed out, or this does not have the blue color with it anymore. And if you say filter, you can see, you should be able to see the only method that is implemented. Okay. However, if you can see, get entity has been, blued out. Sorry, blacked out. So now we will go back again, and here comes the next step, which is to generate the run, the service maintenance. And to do that, we'll have to register the service first. So in order to do that, if you can see, I have the register button here. So I'll be going ahead and I'll be saving it into local package, which is $tmp. So here, I would be, registering the name of my, technical, project as ZYT session underscore SRV. And the description is as we have provided. And this is the model name. Okay, we would be using it at different points. We'll talk as and when needed. So done that. So if you can see here, I have a positive sign for my registration status. So now we'll be going into the SAP Gateway client. And now this is the place where you check if your service is working fine or not. Now, if you can see, I already have, okay, this part of, the link is automatically generated. This is your, service that you have just now created, and this is the format that you're expecting to see in. So now I'll click on execute. If you can see, I have a 200. If you have a 200, then guys, I think you can take a huge sigh of relief, because it's like, thank God. Okay. However, now if you can, just see when I do, something different, it gives you, a value of 400, which is, bad. And if it's giving you 500, then, there is a server error that it's, looking at. So now I'll, okay, put this back. So if you can see the, it's a 200, the status code, and, it's all okay. Now, what I would be doing is, here you have entity set, okay, the name of entity. Now, when I go ahead and do this and I execute this, it would throw you an error saying 501, which is not implemented. And if you all remember, we have just implemented we have just implemented get entity. We have not implemented get entity set. So obviously this part has to throw you an error. So now I'm again going back to this. So now what we'll do is, let us you know get a query done. So if you all if you have noticed in my data, ZEMP ID is the name of my key field, and the EMP ID is 100. So I only need to know, the name, or the value within the key field, and I know that the value within the key field is 100. So now what I'll be doing is I'll be going back to the screen again, my gateway client. So I have my EMP set. Now within my EMP set, the first thing that I have to, search for is, okay, not the work area key tab. It is the name of my field, ZEMP ID, which is 100. So now I'll implement this. Okay, it says bad request. Now, when you see that it's a bad request here, we have, different ways to understand what the mistake is. I clearly know, I can clearly see what my mistake is, but let us, try to understand from, this point. So here, when it says bad request, it is very clearly trying to, tell you that the the command given, or probably you have a syntactical error there, and it's very clearly telling you that the expected name is ZEMP ID or ZEMP ID. So I'll copy this probably, okay, or instead I'll try to change this. I think that should also do the same thing, ZEMP ID, and I give it 100 now with this casing, and I say go, voila. So here we have the method implemented, and you can see the name, that is 100, has this is the EMP ID. I have 100, and the name is Varun, and the age is 30. Let me just go ahead and cross check in the table. So 100, Varun, 30 matches. So now I'll just change it to 103, and we'll see. Oops. Okay, we'll change it to 103 just to see, and we'll implement it. Okay, so you can see 103 is Priya, the age is 45. Good enough. Now, if in case, just to understand how another error, looks like, if my values were not in integer and probably they were in string or, character format, then because a quotes is expected, and because an integer a quote is not expected, now when I execute this, you would see that it says, again, it's a bad request, but this time it is not saying that the problem is with ZEMP ID. It says invalid key predicate. So the expected type is EDM byte. So it's very clearly trying to tell you that this is what I'm looking for. So I hope with this you have understood, what it is to work on OData service. So we have implemented successfully get underscore entity. And with this, I think you should be able to work on a project yourself very soon. So the first step that we have done is we've gone into the OData model. We have imported the model from the table that has been created. It has only one key field. We'll probably try to complexify it in the further videos. It has one key field with a bit of information in it. And after I've done that, I have generated my runtime artifacts. After which, within my runtime artifacts, I went into DPC extension. Within my DPC extension, I worked on the method, which is ZEMP set get entity. And when I use get entity, I would be able to filter and get the records as per my need, right? So, and one other thing that I also told you, which is very important, is remember to keep each and every element or method or table that you work on active, because if it's not active, then you're not getting the information. Simple. Okay. So yeah, I think with this, we have been able to understand what is get entity. In the next video, we'll work on a search string operation, and we'll see how to better filter our records, and probably this time we'll be using a get entity set. Okay, so stay tuned, do not go away anywhere. Probably very soon we'll have this, and if you have any queries, please do not forget to use the chat box or the comment section. And if in case you find anything really good or bad, or if there's anything else that you're looking for, please do not forget, again, there is the same comment box. So yeah, I really hope you have had fun in this session, and you've learned as much as you could. This is me, Varun, logging off, hoping to see you all very soon. Thank you very much.